Good morning, everyone. In last class, we have learned about cellular respiration. Mainly two types of respiration are there, aerobic and anaerobic respiration. That also you have learned. Then inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means the process of taking in air rich in oxygen. Exhalation is the process of giving out of air that is rich in carbon dioxide. These two processes you have learned in last class. Now let's learn the mechanism of respiration. And the respiration of earthworm, cockroach and aquatic animals. So let's start. Now let us learn about the mechanism of breathing. In humans, the main organs responsible for respiration are present in the thoracic cavity. In this region, the rib cage and a diaphragm are observed. Lungs are present in the chest cavity. This cavity is surrounded by ribs on the sides. The right lung is divided into three lobes: the right superior, the right middle, and the right inferior lobe. The left lung is smaller and has only two lobes, the left superior and the left inferior lobe. Both the lungs are associated externally with small tubular bronchi, which unite and extend into the trachea. This trachea has incomplete C-shaped ring of cartilage which prevent the tracheal wall from collapsing. The trachea leads into the pharynx, which is connected to the nostrils. As we breathe in air, the oxygen molecule enters the nostrils and travel downward through the pharynx and trachea to finally reach the bronchi. From each bronchi, the oxygen molecule travels into the lung. During inhalation, ribs move up and outwards and diaphragm moves down. This movement increases space in our chest cavity and air rushes into the lungs. The lungs get filled with air. During exhalation, ribs move down and inwards while diaphragm moves up to its former position. This reduces the size of the chest cavity and air is pushed out of the lungs. Actually, breathing involves the movement of the diaphragm and the rib cage. We can understand the mechanism of breathing by a simple model. Take a wide plastic bottle, remove the bottom, get a Y-shaped glass or plastic tube. Make a hole in the lid so that the tube may pass through it. To the forked end of the tube, fix two deflated balloons. Introduce the tube into the bottle as shown in the figure. Now cap the bottle. Seal it to make it airtight. To the open base of the bottle, tie a thin rubber or plastic sheet using a large rubber band. To understand the expansion of the lungs, pull the rubber sheet from the base downwards and watch the balloon. Next, push the rubber or plastic sheet up and observe the balloons. Did you see any change in the balloons? What do the balloons in this model represent? What does the rubber sheet represent? In this activity or in this model, the balloon represents our lung and the rubber sheet represents diaphragm. By doing this activity, it is clear that or you can understand the mechanism or how our lungs are working. Here one more activity to understand what do we breathe out. You might have observed that if you exhale on a mirror, a film of moisture appears on its surface. Let us do one activity. Take a clean test tube or a glass or a plastic bottle. Make a hole in its lid and fix it on the bottle. Pour some freshly prepared lime water in the test tube. Insert a plastic straw through the hole in the lid in such a way that it dips in lime water. Now blow gently through the straw a few times. You can see that a color change appears in lime water. Do you know the reason? It is because when we exhale, some gases reaches to the lime water. This gas, when reactive with the lime water, it produces or it changes the lime water into milky. Actually, this gas is carbon dioxide. When carbon dioxide reacts with the lime water, it turns the lime water into milky. It is a standard test of carbon dioxide. By doing this activity, it is clear that when we breathe out or when we exhale carbon dioxide, we release carbon dioxide. Now let us learn breathing in other animals. Animals such as elephant, lion, cow, goat, frog, lizard, snakes, birds, etc. have lungs in their chest cavities like human beings. How do other organisms breathe? Do they also have lungs like those of human beings? Let us check out. Let us take cockroach as example. A cockroach has a small openings on the sides of its body. Other insects also have similar type of openings. These openings are called spiracle. Cockroach have a small opening on the sides of its body. That opening is called spiracle. Insects have a network of air tubes called trachea for gas exchange. All insects have a network of air tube called trachea. The function of trachea is for exchanging the gases. Oxygen-rich air rushes through spiracle into the tracheal tube that diffuses into the body tissue and it reaches every cells of the body. Similarly, carbon dioxide from the cells goes into the tracheal tube and moves out through spiracle. These air tubes are found only in insects. That air tube name is trachea. This trachea is found only in insects and not in any other group of animals. Next is earthworms. Earthworms breathe through their skin. The skin of an earthworm feels moist and slimy on touching. Gases can easily pass through this moist skin. Though frogs have a pair of lungs like human beings, they can also breathe through their skin, which is moist and slippery. Frogs and earthworms have their skin moist and slippery. So these animals can breathe through their skin. Next is breathing underwater. Aquatic organisms take oxygen dissolved in water. They use their gills for respiration. These gills are projections of the skin. These are well supplied with blood vessels for exchange of gases. Like other organisms, plants also respire for the survival. They also take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. In the cells, oxygen is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and water as in other organisms. Like other organisms, in the cells, the oxygen is used to break down glucose into carbon dioxide and water. In plants, each part can independently take in oxygen from the air and give out carbon dioxide. In plants, each part, for example, a root, stem, and leaves, etc., can independently or separately take in oxygen from the air and they can give out carbon dioxide. You have learned that plants have a tiny pores called stomata on their leaves. Plants' leaves have tiny pores that is called stomata that help for the plants or leaf to exchange the gases. Stomata are the small opening present on the leaves that help for the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Like all other living cells of the plant, the root also need oxygen to generate energy. Just now we have discussed that all parts of the plant can individually take in oxygen. So roots also take up air from the air spaces present between the soil particle. As you can see in the picture, there is space between the soil particle. The space is embedded with air. So the plant root take the oxygen present between the soil particle. Do you know what would happen if a potted plant is overwatered? If you give more water, if you supply more water, this water occupies the space between the soil particle. In that cases, the air escapes out. So the availability of oxygen between the soil particle is less. So the root will not get enough oxygen for their growth. So plants cannot survive if you provide or if you supply more water.